Everybody, if you're watching this video, you must want to learn about Lyme disease. And I'm going to share my Lyme story with you. But before we get started, in my state, I'm a licensed EMS provider. So any of the content I provide here is in no way, shape, or form medical advice. It is merely my personal experiences with Lyme disease, right? Secondly, the Lyme disease has impacted my speech. So sometimes I stutter, sometimes I say the wrong word, or sometimes I just can't speak at all. So if those things happen, doesn't mean I'm stupid. It just means I'm having difficulty getting the things in here to come out here. So let's go ahead and get started. So some background on me and how I ended up with Lyme. So um, I worked as a computer programmer engineer in the aerospace world Monday through Friday, and I did firefighting and EMS on the evenings and weekends. It's kind of a family tradition. My youngest girl went into firefighting and EMS too, and I'm very, very proud of her. So, how did I get Lyme disease? So, I was actually in North Carolina after the hurricanes in the fall of 2024. I think I was down there maybe 3 or 4 days after the hurricanes hit. And my role down there was operating unmanned aircraft to locate missing persons. And while I was there, I flew approximately 70 miles. Every day, I was near the woods, in the woods, on the river, near the river. Uh, I was always outdoors. I am 54 years old, never thought I would get Lyme disease. I've been outside my entire life. But here's how it went down. So it was my last day in North Carolina. We were down near Elk River in Avery County. If those of you who are familiar with that, and we were just downstream of the falls, and we were looking for a debris pile that may have contained a missing woman, and it was like in this valley, sort of like tucked back in the woods. So myself and another person, we walked across the river, probably about waist level. Got to the other side, had to climb up like this little rock face thing, and up into this valley, and we were able to identify this debris pile and mark it for the canine team. On the way back across the river, once again, we were about thigh level, and on the way back to the ATVs, uh, I felt a little sting on the back of my right leg. It almost felt like my wet pants had pulled a hair. That's how minuscule the sting was. Now, normally when ticks attach to you, you don't feel them, right? Because they inject a bunch of stuff to be like all stealthy. We'll go into that in another video. Um, but I think what happened was probably the first time through the river, uh, maybe the tick detached because we were in the water a while getting across the first time, just trying to learn our path, right? Uh, and I think what happened is when the tick left, right, there was obviously a wound, and then the nasty water that was there after the hurricane, right, because you had septic systems and chemicals and just all this junk in the water. I believe that's what caused that little sting. Or maybe the tick popped out on the way back to the ATV, and maybe it was just my wet pants just dripping down water got in there. Don't know. All I know is I felt the sting, very definite, very prominent on the back of my right knee. I mean, it was definitely your brain's like, ooh, I felt that. So finish up in North Carolina, come back home, and I'm kind of out of it, not really thinking right. And I don't think that was the Lyme disease at that point. I think what that was is just all the destruction in North Carolina was more than most people could bear. So I just thought it was just decompressing from North Carolina. So fast forward, I don't know, maybe about 2 weeks, somewhere around there. It was around the 20th. I started getting fullness on the back of my right knee. Didn't think nothing of it. Uh, and then by the 23rd, it was just blown up. I mean, just a humongous rash. So I'm like, this really isn't good. Went and sought medical care, and I'm not going to go into too many details on that, but I can say that they thought it was an infection like MRSA or something. So they gave me some pills and sent me on my way. So the remainder of November, it was mostly fatigue, obviously pain in my leg, uh, chills, like flu-like symptoms. And you know, with it being near the holidays, I was thinking it's probably the flu, right? But this continued week after week after week. So now we fast forward into January, almost the second week in January, and the entire leg blew up from the foot to the hip. Um, and it seemed to be radiating from the knee. So the foot was swollen, could hardly walk. I mean, it was a lot of pain. At that time in my life, I thought that was a lot of pain, but it gets worse. uh, so anyway, go back to the hospital. You know, told them, said, hey, you know, I was in North Carolina. I was swimming around in the rivers, having fun. Ha ha. And I don't know what's going on with my leg, but there's something going on. Like this is not right. So they did a ton of tests. Obviously, it came back positive for Lyme disease. Uh, and they did two Lyme disease tests, short term and long term. So it came back positive for the long term, negative for the short term. So they prescribed me some doxycycline, um, and started taking that. And then then the games began. Uh, so not only did I have the leg swelling, which eventually went down, I had the issue of interacting with other individuals that don't know much about Lyme disease, and even I didn't know a whole lot about Lyme disease when this first started. I've never received official training from the state or anything like that on Lyme disease as an EMS professional. We've never been briefed on that stuff, and if we were, I I sure the hell don't remember it. But anyway, as we progressed through the Lyme disease, um, for then came all the doctors, and I think we'll get into that in a different video rather than kind of muddying the waters here. Uh, but anyway, as far as symptoms, the leg just continued to blow up. The foot was blowing up, and it progressively became worse and worse and worse. And remember earlier when I told you that, you know, the foot and the leg hurt. Now the entire foot was blown up like a balloon. I mean, literally, it looked like a balloon. And the pain was, buddy, it was like losing your lunch kind of pain. And it just wasn't when you were walking; it was when you were laying down, when your heart was beating. It was excruciating. Uh, so yeah, so now we're into what, April. So I've pretty much had Lyme disease November, December, January, February, March, and April. So we're what, 6 months into this. Other things that it's impacted is not only my speech. I had an incident about um, 8 days ago where I couldn't read for about 4 minutes. My vision is becoming blurry. I've had hand tremors so bad where I couldn't get the food to my mouth because it was falling off my fork. Neck tremors, just this crazy head bobbing thing that drives you nuts. But that's one of the reasons why I'm standing, because I've had 8 days of being able to walk with no pain, and I really don't want to sit anymore. Like I don't want to lay down. I don't want to sit. I just want to stand while I can. One thing I have noticed with the Lyme disease, it seems to be going in cycles. Sometimes the cycles can be days, sometimes they can be hours. Uh, when I say that on the hours, it was probably 9 days ago. dude, I was done. Like mentally, I was just done. I felt like crap. I was fatigued. My leg, I could hardly walk on. I couldn't make it from the living room in into my office here without just being in excruciating pain. And literally within a matter of 2.5 hours, that uh, then I could walk. This speech things drive me crazy. So to close out this video, uh, Lyme disease is no joke. If you think you've been exposed to Lyme disease, please make sure that you go to a doctor that is Lyme literate. It is a time sensitive matter. I cannot stress this enough. If you are exposed to Lyme disease through a tick, it's very, very important that you find a Lyme literate doctor and you get treatment probably within maybe the first 6 weeks, maybe. Uh, because after that, it gets a foothold in your body and it really wreaks havoc. There is no cure. There are co-infections that commonly go along with Lyme disease, which would be Bartonella and B- Babesia, I believe it is. Um, and we'll get into that in a different video if I can manage to say the words. but clo- closing this out, I will say every day I fight to keep my spirits high. The way I look at Lyme disease, it's almost like a poker game. Sometimes in a poker game, you get dealt a good hand, and you're like, "Oh yeah, right!" You're so excited. And sometimes in a poker game, you get dealt a really crappy hand. Uh, so in the poker game of life, this is my crappy hand. I'm going to do my best to play it well. And I know that I was a winner when I woke up today, and I'll be a winner when I go to sleep, and everything else in between is just a lesson for tomorrow. So stay strong in your journey with Lyme disease. Make sure you find a Lyme literate doctor, do your own research, and direct your care. It's very, very important. And if you have any questions, drop me an email at thedonkeybeanshow@gmail.com, and I will do my best to reply to you. Take care, guys. Best wishes to you and your family.